힘들죠.
How will man feel when he changes every day? Sometimes a boy, sometimes a girl, sometimes a grown man, sometimes a child. The main character of the movie is a boy named Jin, who does not have a single face and is constantly changing. He is telling his story to us. He says that when he wakes up, he becomes a new human. Sometimes he becomes old, sometimes a child, sometimes a young girl, sometimes a boy. His body, his identity, everything changes. He even becomes a foreigner. His voice and his eyesight change too. Whatever body he had, his body parts changed according to his age. That's why he had different glasses for his eyesight, shoes of different sizes, and clothes of both genders. Then he says that furniture design is his profession. He first designed the furniture with his own hands and then built it himself. He was used to the conditions he was going through. Because he did not know how to get back to normal. He did all his work on the internet because there was no need to go live on the internet. Only 2 people knew about this secret, his mother and his friend Sang. Then we are shown Sang, who used to do furniture work with Jin. In fact, he worked as a customer dealer in everything except furniture design. One day, Sang comes to Jin's house and tells him that today you have become a very handsome person. Let's go out for a walk. They both go to a club and enjoy it a lot. Jin is sleeping with a girl, and when he wakes up, he sees that he has become an old man. He has captured videos of all the faces on his laptop. He says he can't speak his national language when he becomes a foreigner. Rather, he speaks his native language, such as Chinese or Japanese, no matter what kind of foreigner he becomes. While he did not even learn that. Because of this changing identity, no one ever felt good about him, and he never loved anyone. His body transformation began about 12 years ago, when he was 18 years old. Then a moment from his past is shown. When he wakes up, he sees himself in the mirror, and he has become a strange man. He is also very scared to see that. Then he tells his mother everything, and she is very surprised. But somehow she manages to handle it and says sorry to him. Jin could not live a normal life like the rest of the people. And that's why he had to drop out of school. On the one hand, all the kids his age were going to school, and on the other, he was trying to balance his life. One day Sang takes some things to Jin's house, and a middle-aged woman opens the door. She offers him food. Sang thinks that maybe this is her real mother. But then Jin's real mother comes there, and he finds out that he is none other than Jin. He is shocked and can't believe what is happening now. To know the reality, he asks this lady some questions about Jin. Asks questions that only Jin knew. To which the woman answers all questions correctly. Sang is shocked to see this and starts laughing at him. After this incident, Sang came to his house daily, and he became a new person every day. They both talked and always laughed. One day, when Jin became a girl, they both went to the club together. He tells him that we have been friends for 15 years, and you were a boy who is a girl today. So can you be close to me in a girl's body? On hearing this, Jin gives a completely different answer. He says, control yourself. The next day they meet again, and now Jin is a boy. Sang tells him that the owner of the company he works for is stealing Jin's designs. An idea comes to his mind. He thinks of using it to start his own company and chooses its name as ALX. At the same time, they think that Jin will design and hire people to sell furniture. First Jin is only a furniture maker, then he also becomes a furniture supplier. Then one day, Jin goes to the furniture shop and sees something there. Meanwhile, a girl named Soo is watching him, who is a worker at that shop. She asks Jin, "What do you want?" He says, "I need a chair that makes me feel like I'm sitting on a horse." Hearing this, she shows him a company called ALX. She says, "You will find the best in everything here." That means that she suggests that he create his own website. He asks her if it's allowed to appreciate someone else's stuff and to advertise for free. Seeing this, Soo starts laughing. He also used to go there every day to see Soo. Because of the different faces, Soo could not even recognize that he was a Jin. Gradually, he begins to like Soo and falls in love with her. He has a large collection of visiting cards from her shop. He goes there every day as a separate customer. One day, when Jin becomes a handsome boy, he goes to Soo's shop for purchases. Somehow he offers her to go to dinner. To which she refuses him. He tells him that I have practiced a lot to ask this question. She agrees after seeing his sincere nature. He buys the food and takes her to his feature-making place. She refuses to go there. On which, Jin gives her his secretary number and says, "I'm not the wrong person. But if you still find something wrong, you can complain about it." Then they both go there, and after going there, she realizes that this is the ALX factory. Because the people there love ALX furniture. They both have dinner, and then he leaves her at her house. Then they plan to meet again the next day. But the problem here was that if he fell asleep, he would change again. Seeing this, he sets an alarm every hour so that he does not fall asleep. At the same time, he tries to keep himself busy so that his time may pass. The two meet again the next day and enjoy themselves a lot. Soo asks him what you do in the A.L.X. So he says I'm a furniture designer. Sang also arrives there, and they both see him and hide. After that, Soo and Sang go home. And Jin sits there and begins to work. And tries to keep himself awake. They meet again the next day, and then we see that Jin has not slept for many days. The next night, as he is going to drop her off, he falls asleep because of the sleep in the bus. When the bus stops at the station, he wakes up and sees that he has become a middle-aged man. Arriving at the station, he sees that Soo is waiting for him. He couldn't go near her, even though he was there. Now that handsome boy had become an old man, Soo would be shocked to see him. In the meantime, he gets a call from her boss and leaves. She calls Jin a lot, but he doesn't answer and sends her a sorry message. Here, Jin understands that his beautiful life has come to an end. Her reply comes as, "Where are you? I waited for you at the bus stop." He decides that he will not leave her without telling her the whole truth. The next day, Jin becomes a girl and asks Soo to go with him. She says I know everything about Jin and brings her to the furniture factory. Jin shows her all of his videos and videos of all his faces revealed in front of him. He also informs her that he is a boy, but that when he awakens, his gender has changed. And the one she has been hanging out with for so many days is Jin. Soo doesn't believe this and leaves. Even after many days, Soo could not forget Jin. She keeps thinking about him, and one day she goes to meet him in his factory. He is now a Japanese woman and asks Soo to come in. She asks him, "Do you really like me? If yes, then you have to accept my wish. I want to sleep with you and see you change with my own eyes." She asks him while sleeping, "How long has this been going on?" So he tells her his whole story. Meanwhile, Soo finds out his real age, which is 29 years old, and her age is 29 too. She asks him, "Why do you choose me?" Jin tells her that I had accepted my condition and was used to it, but after seeing you, I couldn't control myself. Then they both fell asleep. The next morning, when the people wake up, Jin, who is now a handsome boy, arrives there. Which means he had changed. He is happy that she is with him, even after knowing everything. After that, they always spent time together and stayed together. They were both living a happy life. The next day, she gets a tattoo on Jin's neck to identify him. One day Jin had to go to a party with Soo, but then he became an old woman. He tries hard to sleep but can't. Everyone at the party came with their partners, but Soo was all alone. Everyone wanted to see Soo's partner and ask her where he was. Because everyone had seen Soo with different people. Right then, a guy at the party holds Soo's hand the way Jin told him that she would recognize him. Everyone at the party is surprised to see him, especially Soo's boss. The next day, he becomes a girl and brings Soo to meet his mother. Her mother says thanks to her for being with her son. In the morning, he asks himself if Soo will agree to the wedding. And should I ask her for marriage? and he spends many days making his wedding ring. The next day, Soo is talking to a doctor, and she tells her about her condition and Jin's transformation. The doctor recommends medication for tension and depression for Soo. He is now a handsome boy, and she says, "I like every moment I spend with you. And the heart says that this time should not pass. And I want you to be like me, a normal person." He asks her if she will marry him, to which she does not answer. Then he is about to leave her at home, so on the way, he asks again, "Will you marry me?" Soo asks him to stop the car. Soo says that marriage is not an ordinary thing. "What will I tell my family that he's a boy who changes every day?" Hearing her words, he says that "when I go away from you, I don't feel well." She tells him that "you only think about yourself. You know who you are and what your identity is. Your face in the mirror today is something else, and tomorrow it will be something else. You can't even recognize yourself. It takes a long time for you to even think about wearing your shoes, clothes, and glasses." Now she says that "it is very difficult for me to understand that this is Jin. Then how will I tell the rest of the people that you're Jin?" He understands her anxiety. Soo gets in the car and takes her tension-releasing pills. Then Soo is admitted to the hospital, and Jin also comes there. Jin finds out that Soo takes depression-releasing pills. And because of the high dose, she has become sick. He listens to the conversation with the doctor on her cell phone. He realizes that this condition of Soo is because of him. The next day, he becomes a girl and is with his mother. His mother tells him the truth, he is just like his father. His father also had the same disease, and he also used to change. And because of that, she was also suffering from stress. Seeing his wife's condition, Jin's father disappeared so that his wife would not be disturbed. Hearing this, he also decides that he should do the same. They both meet again in the evening, and after some walking, Jin tells her that we should break up. Having said that, he leaves from there. Before the breakup, Jin had given Soo a chair. Soo cries when she sees this chair and remembers Jin. 10 months have passed, and now Soo is completely normal. One day, Soo's boss shows her a popular designer's furniture on a website. Seeing this, she understands that these are Jin's designs. Her boss says the design is stunning and that you must order it for us. Then she realizes that she was only thinking about people and what they would say. But in fact, she herself was not living without him. And with that, she decides to look for him. Then Jin is shown as a designer in the Czech Republic. And he was the person at that location, and he was speaking their language there. On the other hand, after knowing Jin's address, she goes there. But Jin tells her that there is no boy named Jin. She tells him that "I came from a studio in Korea, which has a huge furniture market." And she begs him to let her in. As soon as she goes inside, she sees separate shoes, clothes, and furniture, which are the same as those made by Jin. "My company loves your design, so I wanted to see you," she says. To which she says, "Stop it, Jin. I have changed completely. I want to be with you." Jin tells her that she will get sick again. "It's more of a terrible life I'm living than the disease," she says. She apologizes to Jin, and they both go for a walk together. She tells him that one day she saw him changing, which made her very scared. She tried everything she could to explain herself, but she couldn't. And she says, "I think I can't live without you." And now she herself asks him for marriage, and he gives her the same ring. And now comes the happy ending to their lives and films.